Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for pressing play. Well, hey, we're back like a broken record. We're back in Untermyer Park, but I thought that this location was fitting today because today we're going to be talking about the Michael Franzese interview of David Berkowitz, which is now basically overnight been seen over 110,000 times. I mean, it's incredibly popular. So I wanted to get out to Untermyer Park because, well, I got some issues with the Franzese interview. I think it's perpetuating myths. And because of this whole issue of myths has been coming up so much lately, well, I figured we're back in the spot where the original urban myth started of cultic activity in Son of Sam. The infamous Untermyer Park, which, no, sorry guys, this place had nothing whatsoever to do with Son of Sam. I figure maybe I'm gonna get some new viewers today because I'm gonna have Franzese in my title and maybe some of his viewers will watch. And yeah, I wanna talk about this interview because a lot of people are seeing it and because I feel that there's some misinformation going on. I wanted to come out here and tell you what I believe is the more accurate story. So we're here at the entrance to the formal gardens, Persian gardens, walled gardens of Untermyer Park. And we'll take a look at some beautiful plants. The lighting's great today. Beautiful beech trees. Yeah, so normally I don't comment on people doing videos on Son of Sam. I mean, everybody's allowed to do their videos, and I got no problem, of course, with anybody doing videos on Son of Sam. Even those peddling more and Mr. T's whosow of cult involvement of Son of Sam. I mean, whatever. That's where you want to spend your life. That's fine. But Franzese has a huge audience, and believe me, it's not like these people are going to give half a shit about Son of Sam in a week. But I care about this topic. And I believe that our video series has done really the most in the modern era of making people understand the true issue and nature of the Son of Sam spree. And I don't believe any of this truth got into this interview of Berkowitz by Franzese, and I got issues with that because it's like, yo, how much time does this guy have left to give interviews, and is he ever going to grant an interview to someone who might be hostile or not hostile but knows the case inside and out? I mean, this is my issue with Franzese. The dude doesn't know shit about Son of Sam. I mean, take away the intro to the video where he's hawking his wine, which is a huge insult to the victims of Son of Sam. I mean, you're starting an important interview with one of the most notorious serial killers out there, where you could learn quite a lot about the crimes, and you're starting the interview hawking your wine. Not a good look, kind of tacky in my opinion. All right, but you know, whatever, I'm not Franzese, I'm not out here making wine for people to sell, and you know, whatever. Everyone's allowed to make a living. But my issue, of course, is that he knows nothing about the case. He's sitting here talking about, oh, Berkowitz killed 7 or 8 people. He didn't even know. Doesn't he have a research assistant, someone who could at least say to him the accurate number of people who were killed, which was 6, 7 wounded? So he starts this interview with a wine advertisement. And then he's talking about, oh, Berkowitz killed 7 or 8 people. Myths of Son of Sam. There's a lot of mythology surrounding this case. So we see the beautiful liriope coming out. Gorgeous little ground cover. So we'll talk a little bit more about that as the video progresses. The only time I like these fastigiate beaches is now when they have no leaves and they're not such a hugely dominating presence on the landscape. Otherwise, I think these are huge errors, design errors. But what do I know, right? I don't know. I don't know anything. So anyway, the famous Untermyer Park, where I've been roaming this place since the early 90s. And of course, we've spoken to quite a few people who were roaming this place decades before. So myths about Son of Sam and all this stuff with this Franzese video. So because Franzese knows nothing about this case, this was a wasted opportunity. How many more opportunities are we going to get to interview Berkowitz when he's in his right mind? And Berkowitz only seemed to really be interested in Son of Sam truth before Maury Terry came around. When he was talking to Abramson constantly, when he was talking to Jack Jones, telling both of them essentially the same story. Beautiful little, probably a little cherry tree of some sort. Gorgeous. So we didn't get any depth from the interviewer, so you're not going to get any depth from the interviewee. And somehow an interviewer is Franzese, an interviewee is Berkowitz. And somehow or other, I have a feeling that Berkowitz is just fine with that. Like, do you think that Berkowitz would sit down with me in a room, with me knowing all about, you know, the stories from John Comparetto and Jeff Hartenberg, and the stories from Rinciari and Jim Fay about the true nature of this guy? Stories of Maria, right? Where I actually know the ins and outs of each shooting, what exactly he did, where I've read every letter that he wrote in his apartment. I mean, wouldn't that be a better interview, a more worthy of your while interview than the same old tropes that we've been seeing? There was nothing new in this interview except for a few verbalizations of things that we already knew about, like his hatred of noise and how he moved to New Rochelle and went crazy, and then the Bronx and went crazy, and then eventually ended up on Pine Street where he went crazy and had to go. This was great, actually, in the interview where he talked about having to go to Orchard Beach in order to sleep, to get away from the sound of the noise in his apartment. But that doesn't even make sense, because Orchard Beach is so far away. Why wouldn't he just go down the block? Why wouldn't he go anywhere where he could just, I guess maybe he wanted the solitude of the beach. I don't know. But those were fun little insights, but again, nothing new. We want to know at this point from Berkowitz, not about his Christianity, and not about how him doing death-defying feats as a child somehow meant he had a death wish, and that somehow meant he was going to become Son of Sam. Like, it makes no sense. What he describes in the Franzese video is a perfectly normal childhood. But yet he's trying to find something in that childhood to talk about why he later murdered. I was always a troubled kid with behavior problems. Well, so were millions of other kids. I was in the principal's office a lot. I didn't turn into a multi-shooter, a psychopath that prowled the streets looking for tasty meat, so, as he said in the Borelli letter. I wasn't doing that. Beautiful plant. What is this? Does it have a tag? No, no tag. We want to hear about the cult that didn't exist. In other words, we want to hear about his relationship with Maury Terry, and we want to hear him talking about the crimes. This interview actually was more important for what it didn't say. And what it didn't say was there was absolutely no talk about the victims, no talk about the crimes, no remorse really whatsoever. Talking about going to baseball games with his father, and I guess that's cool. He talked about something that we already knew about a million times over, him riding his bicycle everywhere. But who cares about the death-defying feats that he took when he was a kid? So did I. So did you. We all did death-defying feats as children. So that leads me to my next issue with this interview, which kind of like they let this guy off easy. They give him a soft way out. Let me just get past these people. Hey guys. They allow him to perpetrate the myth that he's been putting out there since 1979 when he first said this to Abramson. The anyone could do it horse shit. And, you know, listen, I respect Caparelli for him getting out of Berkowitz that he lied to Maury Terry. But this anyone could do it horse shit is complete crap. Sorry, anyone could not do it. I have problems with noise. I hate my upstairs neighbors. I actually want them dead. But do you see me going to shoot them or anyone else? 1 million people have shitty things happen in their life. They don't go out and shoot people. There are plenty of people in 1977 who were angry at their neighbors with barking dogs. And had the same issues that Berkey had, plus 1 million more. Where they were adopted, where they were told as children that they were killed their mother in childbirth, where the father didn't want them, right? Gazillions of people have those same issues. They don't go and become killers. We just have to face facts. There was just something organically wrong with Berkowitz's brain, which made him feel the need to go out and blow people's heads off. I mean, that's what he wrote he wanted to do. He wanted to just aim for the head and shoot them in the head. And it's great to intellectualize and psychologize about it all. But this was actually a dude who had a normal childhood, like most of us, with the same foibles and the same tragedies and triumphs. And even him being adopted, I'm sorry, it wasn't that big a deal. But yet, we're talking about him because he went out and shot innocent people. So something is organically wrong with his brain. I mean, it's actually not that difficult to, I could end the video right here. This is just something wrong with his brain. It's very simple. But this whole perpetration of the anyone could do it horse shit really bothers me. And I don't mean to pick any fights with anyone, and I don't want any problems in the Son of Sam world with any other authors or interviewers, but this is how we arrive at truth and consensus, which is in the public square. When new information comes out and research comes out, no matter where it comes from, we need to all discuss it. And this interview with Franzese is important. Why? Because of its scope and reach. This thing was seen overnight by more people than watched my channel almost in its entire history. I mean, that's not true, but it might as well be. So therefore, it has a lot of influence. And because it has a lot of influence, and I'm a Son of Sam researcher who brought a lot of new information to the table that doesn't comport with what we learned in the Franzese interview, I wanted to come out here and react to it. So the issue really is, did he lie to Franzese? And I believe that he did. First of all, this dude is playing dumb as to the reasons why he killed. A lot of pressures, the demonic forces of Satan. I read the Satanic Bible. Oh yeah? Well, how come there's pages and pages of letters written in 1979 detailing in an excruciating detail why you killed, how you killed, and so on and so forth, the method of your prowling? Dude, you were a meticulous killer who thought of this as a mission. And you're talking about, oh, I don't know how this all happened. You're organically fucked up. That's how it happened. Your brain is not wired properly and correctly. That's how it happened. It's not really all that difficult to understand. So he plays dumb about that. He completely lies about his reunion with his mother. He's allowed to get away with the fact that he says, oh yeah, it was great. I thought she was a beautiful woman and we had this great time. Oh yeah, well then why were you telling Abramson that you thought she was a sneak, a horrible lady, terrible, disloyal? You wanted to kill her. I mean, you were saying this shit. You were putting it in writing. Even in the Good Housekeeping article, which Franzese should have read, because it talks about this period of Berkowitz's life, which was very important, this post-meeting of the mother business. He would have to leave that house because he got urges to kill everybody. So I don't know what's up with this whole, I don't know why I killed, and my reunion with my mother was great, in this interview with Franzese, because it's complete and utter who's-out. And that brings me to my issue with Caparelli and Monster Mirror. I believe he bullshitted Caparelli too. Now, I didn't need Caparelli's book to tell me that Berkowitz worked alone, but it was a nice thing getting the admission from Berkowitz that he lied to Maury Terry. That was a very good thing to hear. It just confirmed the work we did for the last couple of years. But this whole business of Moloch, we got to talk about it. I'm going to let these people pass. As we see the Hakana Chloe emerging. Beautiful lime green Hakana Chloe. And the famous pillars. 2,000 years old from Stanford White, the elite pedophile. I mean, you know, whatever. But yeah, we got to talk about this whole business of like, because it even came up a little bit in the Franzese interview about a cult. So Berkowitz plays both sides of the fence. He says that he did it alone and he lied to Maury Terry, but then he also talks about how he hung out here, and this is in Caparelli's book, how he hung around here with two brothers, and we're supposed to assume, fill in the blank, that was John and Michael Carr. And there was a dude named Moloch here who was the spiritually sick Nobel Prize winning pederast named Carlton Gajusek. We've got quite a few people coming, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut. It's not good talking about pederasts when you pass people in Untermyer Park. Yeah. But the issue with that is that Moloch comes from Maury Terry, who got the whole notion of Moloch from Billy the Artist. And Moloch was Gimel Ishbi. There from Conan number 38, there was no Moloch. There was no leader of the Son of Sam cult. The spiritually sick pederast Carlton B. Gajusek Nobel Prize winner wasn't a good guy. I wouldn't have wanted him to babysit my kid by any stretch. But there's absolutely no proof he was ever in Untermyer Park and participated in any rituals with David Berkowitz here. See this guy coming, let me just... Beautiful shade garden. Let me see the beautiful azaleas coming in. So there's problems emerging with this whole Franzese Caparelli network. First of all, you have Franzese hawking wine, not knowing about the case, and then eliciting the most milquetoast answers possible from David Berkowitz. Then you have Berkowitz being psychoanalyzed in a book where he talks about Moloch and cults, but then also says he did it alone. So I think once again we're getting the old Berkey shuffle, where he's picking his messengers to earth, and he's only picking people who are going to put out the message that he wants to put out. And that's, of course, he was saved by Christianity, and that he's a Christian, and that everything is Christian. And I've been vacillating back and forth, and I've been wondering whether I should talk about this or not, about this Christian business. And because, you know, like, ooh, beautiful. This is I believe this is a quince. Could be wrong though. Beautiful. Wow, how nice. But even Berkowitz's alleged Christianity is muddled. He first becomes a Christian in 1974 in the army. Then he becomes a Christian right after his arrest, becomes a massive Christian. But then we're to believe the fabled myth, which is even peddled by the modern iterations and biographers of Berkowitz, that it was 1988, he was walking in the prison yard, and a fellow inmate came up to him and said, "God loves you, David." And that was it. All of a sudden, he became a Christian again. So, like, which is it? Which of these times was he a Christian? And if he wasn't a Christian in 88, but he was in 79, and he wasn't a Christian in 79 and he was in 74, that means he renounced Christianity several times. He also lied in this interview with Franzese, talking about, "I don't know why I did this, and I loved my mother, she was a beautiful woman." Is that Christian to lie? To bear false testimony? Especially against his victims like that? We just have to face facts. No one gives a shit about Christianity or any of this other crap. We want to know about the crimes, and we want to know about his relationship with Maury Terry. It's the only thing that freaking matter at this point. And I don't think that this current iteration is going to get it from him. Now, I know that Berkowitz will never even talk to me. I am going to send him a letter. I actually have it typed up, written, in an envelope, ready to put in the mail. But I don't have any illusions about this crap. This dude has been picking and choosing, this monstrous narcissist. This dude has been picking and choosing those who tell his story ever since the beginning. Maury Terry, I was the outlier. I don't know what was up with that whole deal. Probably the stuff that Maury Terry was buying him. Also psychologically manipulating him, thinking that he could be up for parole and Maury Terry was going to help him with parole. I mean, Maury was a bad dude. So Berkowitz has a long history with people who kind of like want to take advantage of him for their own means. So that's what's going on here? I don't know. I'm not loyal to these people, Caparelli or Franzese. They're treading into my territory in a sense. And I know that sounds terrible, but who's done the work on Son of Sam like we have in the last 3 years? Nobody. That's who. So you're going to come in and you're going to talk this whoosao about, "I don't know why I did it, and anyone could have turned out the way I did, and I love my mother," when there's so much evidence to the contrary that exists in the real world is presently constituted, that it's all lies. So these are Christians lying to each other, sitting around a table lying to each other. So is that Christian? To me, it's not Christian to lie. Like, that's just not Christian. So, like, what's going on here with all this? So I got problems with this Franzese interview. I don't like the wine advertisement. I don't like the fact that the person interviewing him doesn't know shit about the case. Perpetuating myths about lovers' lanes. Berkowitz didn't kill in lovers' lanes, per se. In other words, he didn't purposely look for people in lovers' lanes. Berkowitz would roam the streets nightly looking for victims, and he found them when there was the perfect opportunity. And notice that if you actually study the crimes and knew about them, unlike our boy Franzese, dude might know about wine. But he doesn't know the first thing about Son of Sam. It's an insult to true crime. Now I'm starting to get pissed. This is an insult to this case, this interview. It's an insult to the intelligence of anybody who knows about the true story about this case, stripping away the cult bullshit away from it, getting to the true core, that this was just a dude, the original incel, who couldn't handle life, who somehow or other in the army got messed up, possibly LSD fried his brain and rewired it in such a way where schizophrenic tendencies came out. 21, 22 is the age that schizophrenia makes itself known. That's the age when he became the son of Sam. So you're gonna talk to me about anyone could do it and I don't know why I did it? That's just as ridiculous as Maury Terry talking about satanistic and druidistic activity here in Untermyer Park. It's a myth and a fairy tale. All these questions were already answered in 1979. I want to know about the crimes. I want to know about his relationship with Maury Terry. I'm sending my letter to Berkowitz. He ain't gonna talk to me. He already knows that I got his number and that he can't who-sow me. You'd think he wants to if he was a true Christian. Sit and talk to the most knowledgeable person on Son of Sam and let loose on what exactly happened. I have a lot of questions. Are there any other victims? Right, as Lorenzo and I surmise. Did he shoot anybody with other guns? Was he responsible for the Leslie Zarrett murder? Right? A million questions that I got about this guy. Let's go up this way. New path. I don't need another history about his childhood. I can read his letters to Abramson about that and get it in much greater detail. I want to know about his relationship with Maury Terry. I want to know about the bribes. I want to know about the who-sow, the manipulation, the psychological abuse. I want to know why this guy Berkowitz carefully curates everybody who tells his story. I got issues with the Franzese interview. I'm not happy with it. It perpetrates myths and legends. It allows the serial killer to get off scot-free and hide behind a veneer of Christian. I'm going on record that I think that whole Christian thing is a grift. I'm not into it. I think it's bullshit. Berkowitz had a monstrous ego, which is still apparent today. I want to study that Franzese interview with a body language expert, because there were certain moments when Berkowitz was saying things with his body that were kind of interesting to me. I'm just going to leave it there. I'm not going to speculate because I'm no expert. But I wonder what secrets this guy's hiding and what he's thinking when these guys are repeating stories about killing 7 people when he only killed 6. Talking about Nasa Moskowitz loving him and forgiving him when she wanted him dead. Nasa Moskowitz didn't forgive Berkowitz. That's another dangerous myth being perpetrated. This video has been seen probably by now 150,000 times. Normally I wouldn't care, but this is a big name handling a big story that he is not prepared for in any way, shape, or form, and selling wine while doing it. Such an insult, so low class, so tacky. So as we stand here by the famous cross in the tree in Untermyer Park, which is a symbol of something, I'm not quite sure what at this point. Is it a symbol of Maury Terry's who-sow? Is it a symbol that there were bodies buried here? Was it just some dude who went around and etched crosses into trees for no discernible reason 45 years ago? We don't know. But it's all about myths, urban myths. We're trying to break free of these things. And we really, really need to start taking this seriously. Like, this is story of Son of Sam is too personally special to me, in a sense, to leave it into the hands of Michael Franzese. It's an insult to the victims. It's an insult to the story. It's an insult to all the researchers out there who've been doing good work on this case. And so I figured I would come out here to Untermyer Park, the location of many urban myths and legends created by another shyster, in my opinion, another huckster. Now, I'm not calling Franzese a shyster and huckster in all his endeavors. His video with Sammy the Bull is one of the best pieces of media I've ever seen. But in terms of this Son of Sam, that dude doesn't know shit, and he shouldn't be putting even his small toe into this pool. And I'm just gonna say it. It's an insult. It's an insult to the victims first and foremost, living and dead. And it's an insult to Son of Sam Truth. And it's an insult to the true crime community. So hopefully, ooh, wow. This is a nice surprise. The daffodils. Wow, I gotta get up there. Let's see if I can figure out a way to get up there. Super cool. I think I could get up here, over here. Probably not allowed, but whatever. All right, this is really gonna make me out of breath, so I'm not gonna talk. Wow, it smells so good. Little daffodil. All sorts of beautiful varieties. Actually, not too many varieties, just a few. Cool. Got to see some nice garden stuff. And I'll get up to the eagle's nest and we'll end it up there. So I'm hoping to get back to this joint with Billy the artist soon, waiting for the weather to warm up. And we are now basically officially in spring. So hopefully we'll get up here with him soon. So before I leave, I actually do want to say some things that I thought were good about the video, about the interview. It reinforced some things that we kind of already knew from Berkowitz's writings, basically about his aversion to noise, which is huge, I think we all agree David has a condition called misophonia. Just can't stand noise. It just drives him into fits of frenzy. That, coupled with his brain possibly being rewired by LSD, and no, I'm not talking about MK Ultra, it's ridiculous. Conspiratards, you gotta get over this crap already. There were literally tens of thousands of Army people who did LSD independently of any MK Ultra, and some people have probably totally and utterly rewired their brains to negative detriment, and I believe that Berkowitz was one of them. So he comes back from the Army all messed up. He talks about that in his video, about how his friends moved on. We already knew that from the Comparetto videos. So there were some things that were valuable in the sense that it reinforced things that we already knew, so we could put those now on the historical record. But yeah, I wanted to come out here and just sort of do a reaction video. I know this was stream of consciousness today. I wasn't really prepared with any sort of organized script or anything. And I know that I was all over the place. And look, I'm not trying to make enemies, and I'm not trying to step on anyone's toes. That's not what this is about, but we're Son of Sam researchers interested in the truth. So when a highly influential person in the true crime genre, the mob genre, comes out with a video interview of the guy that we've been talking about for years, and it gets over 150,000 views overnight, and then there's a lot of people in the comment section still perpetuating the myths about the case, I just figured I'd come out here and use the energy of that video to make a counter to it and hit you up with Son of Sam truth. You know, it's not like things that I want to be, it's just Son of Sam truth. It's just the objective truth of what happened in this case. All right, guys, well, that's basically all I have to say today as I stand here in the middle of the Eagle's Nest Fountain, which is quite amazing because I remember coming here as a kid, as a teenager, and in my early 20s, and this place was totally abandoned. But I hope you enjoyed yourself today. I hope this video made you think a little bit. And if you're new to the channel, just coming here because you're a Franzese fan, wondering who this guy is talking about, your boy Franzese and Son of Sam, and you happen to like what we got going on, please check out all my other videos. We do Son of Sam truth here, and we bring you sober and PhD level stuff. We don't insult you with Satanism. We don't obsess about druidistic activities taking place in the woods here. We're certainly not interested in sex magic and urine drinking like Maury Terry and his fans love. We're interested in finding out what the hell actually happened, and the truth is it's actually a pretty simple case. An incel wigged out on Pine Street threw himself into a pond as a stone emanated out from Pine Street first to the Bronx, then to Queens, then to Brooklyn, and then eventually it engulfed the entire city. And all the time, this dude's monstrous ego loved it. He always planned to be caught. He wanted everybody to know who he was. And now he's talking to Franzese about, I don't know how this happened. Sorry, homie, don't play that. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later.